spaces, there are other things that factor in. A lot of times we're going off of emotion because we haven't learned how to heal. I've said this on many a platform. I've said this plenty of times. We're not healing properly, but we're not healing properly because we're also not expressing what we're technically going through, especially, us men in general. I know Rodney had a wonderful show he was doing actually last week. I think it was last week or the week before. And I got on and I really wanted to go in because what he was talking about really, hit home for me. But since I'm here now, I can, share some of the things that I was hoping to say then in terms of this. First and foremost, a lot of what we're dealing with starts at home. When you're not technically given the space, you're not technically given the longitude and the latitude to express yourself coming from home. That means parenting, that means siblings, that means family in general. There's a disconnect there. Why? Because if you're told to shut up, nobody really cares about how you feel, what you think, so forth and so on, then you don't really have a place being able to express that gives you and or allows you the opportunity to now not only do it, but feel safe in doing it. So that's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I'd like to just add to that, when you start talking about logic and how, we should do things from a logical standpoint, again, we're mostly a triggered community, generally speaking. Not everybody.
What do you mean by triggered community?
We're a triggered community because fortunately, unfortunately, we have been traumatized on so many levels. A lot of us don't really take into consideration if you were picked on as a kid in grade school, and that goes for everything early from kindergarten all the way up to, junior high or whatever. That stuck with you. You can say that it didn't, you can act like it didn't, but it did. So you didn't heal from that. You get to high school where the situation changes. You got the cool kids, you got this group of kids, you got that group of kids. Now you're trying to maneuver and figure out that whole process. So now this is a new set of trauma that you're dealing with. Again, remember, you didn't heal from junior high, so now you're in high school trying to work through this, this new set of rules. You get to college, another new set of rules, because if you go into a fraternity or sorority, that makes you different from this group over here. So do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I said we have generational triggers and moments in our lives that we don't heal from because we've never taken the time to go, wait a minute, some of this stuff I need to take off my plate. And I do think that, not that it's a simple process, because a lot of people will say, well, I can't afford to go to a therapist or whatever the case may be. But I think what some people should do, and I'm hoping we'll learn to start doing a better job of, is one, identifying those issues, whatever they may be for us, and then you got to put them down. If somebody hurt you in 84 and we're in 2023, you can't go back. There's no time machine to go back and fix that. You got to let it go. It happened. It was a moment. Somebody probably wasn't in the best space possible or the best place possible at that time. Or, and this is a tough one for most of us to get, they may have thought at that time, in that moment, whatever they did made sense.
Hey, my boy Sean King said this. My boy Sean King said, JP, at any moment that you're looking at somebody, at that moment, they are doing the best that they can possibly do at that moment. And
okay.
that resonates so hard because everyone's trying to be good or great. So at the moment that you're talking to someone, they're making the best decision that they possibly can make at that moment.
At that time.
And you just confirmed it, bro. Thank you.
And then I'll just add this last thing, because this just happened. You asked me how the weekend was going. So I was on a boat ride, and I bumped into two friends of mine that I knew. So we danced and we having a good time, enjoying ourselves, whatever. Two gentlemen who were also on the boat, were trying to have a good time. They came over and wanted to dance with the young ladies I was dancing with. No problem. They were willing to dance with the gentleman, but then the gentleman got a little too handsy and they got a little too aggressive. Mm-hmm. So I step in, I say to one of the gentlemen, I say, hey, bro, why are you being so aggressive? Oh, well, they this, that, the third, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, bro, first of all, they're not any of those things. And secondly, they're women. I said, I know that right now you probably got a little sauce in your system. You're drinking. There's no problem with that. That's okay. But you got to make better decisions in how you're handling women. I'm not sure what your home training has been like. I'm not even sure what mentors you have in your life or don't have in your life. But I will say this. How you're acting and how you're going about treating these particular two women is wrong. His partner, who happened to be with me, says to me, yeah, well, my lady's downstairs, this, that, third. I said, so let me understand this. You willing to jeopardize your relationship by coming up here and acting out of, character so that your lady at some point can possibly come upstairs, be mad at this young lady for something that you did. See, this is what I mean again. So even with logic, it always isn't what we, think it might be. What tends to happen is, like I said, because at home, we may or may not be getting the foundation that we need. And again, it could be for a number of reasons. So I'm not here to debate who and what those reasons are. What I am here to do is say, we got to start with looking at ourselves, which is AKA the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson once said. And then you got to start taking those things slowly but surely and starting to take them off your plate by doing a few different things. One, and first and foremost, is forgiving the people and or situations that may have hurt you. Because again, to something you just said, the people at that point were doing the best that they could possibly. Again, I can't speak for those situations. I can't speak for those people, but I can say that forgive your mother, forgive your father, forgive your siblings, whoever else may have done some things because maybe they didn't know any better. And again, they were just doing whatever they could at that moment. Yeah. It doesn't make them great. It doesn't make them bad. It just means that they were working as hard as they could at that time. And I feel like if we can get back to or understand that and move from that space when dealing with one another, we can kind of sidestep a lot of different things. But I'll yield the floor back to everybody.
Let me say this real quick. So this is to you, Amir. This is not just to Amir. This is to my comedy community. So this week I had a situation where, and Rodney, we're gonna get to you, bro. Definitely want to get you in here. This week I was in the comedy circuit and I went to a particular room. Comedy in Harlem. I don't mind putting up. I love the institution of comedy in Harlem. I love everything they do there. Jamie Roberts and Nikki Sunshine. So I was at Comedy in Harlem, and it was a particular day when someone that I'm not really cool with is having a show. I didn't know this. I went downstairs for a fish sandwich, and I was like, "Oh, let me just check it out upstairs." Boom! I didn't know, and a bunch of comedians, young comedians, and a couple of veterans came by, and they was like, "Oh, Jay, you going upstairs?" And I was like, "Nah, you know the situation, right?" And one of the young comics came over to me and said, "Hey, man, you got to do comedy a favor and get over that because you two are too important to the whole scheme of things to let something that's been dragging on for 30 years stop everybody else." Now, this is what the young comic said. Now we have to choose sides, and that's not fair to us. Bro, I got in my car, and when I tell you this young comic said some words that made me think, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fair what I'm doing. It's not fair. I didn't think that it was going to have that type of ripple effect. I thought my actions was right here, right now, you, me, blah, 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 blah. But I'm watching everybody else sort of suffer because of this situation. And it's not fair. And it had me thinking. And I was like, wow, young comic had me thinking. That's to what you were saying just now. What up, Rodney? What's going on with you, bro? What up, like? Oh, fellas, I got to tell you about this new young lady I met this week. She is a piece of work. She's funny, but she's definitely of the age of 24, and she just signed on. And God damn it, we got to talk. I wish you could come on the show, but this is Black Men's Table Talk. But what's going on, life's as QZ? I don't know how to say that. So what's up, Rodney? What's going on with you, bro? Talk to me. Logic.
What's up, guys? All is well. You know, it's always good to catch him here dropping, waxing, factual, actual. You know, I don't know, man. I think I'm from that old school though, man. I was watching this thing and I want to say it was Busta Rhymes. Yo, man, me gotta, we gotta be more sensitive. I can't wrap my mind around it, dog. I just, and I get, we should have access to more emotions. That's cool. I'm sitting here making some bracelets as we speak, right? So I do stuff that ain't necessarily the most super masculine, but at the same time, I don't know if I personally have the luxury of of being not being locked in. You know what I mean? Like to me, to be excessively emotional as opposed to logical leaves you and your family vulnerable. And that's probably not true, but that's the way I feel. And so as I navigate my life, I don't know if I give myself, I mean, I sit there and watch, a movie and cry like a baby, but at the same time, I think men got to stay solid, uh, regardless of the situation. Not to be like what you said, Amir, with the dude being disrespectful to women. I'm not saying be that guy, but I'm saying that no, and you're right, Lorraine. Yes, it's okay to cry, but I think to be overly emotional is a sign of weakness for me in general. And maybe I'm wrong.
Bracelets like these, he ain't making the bracelets that you think. And I'm trying to get him to teach me the skills. And first off, please understand, bead making was a man thing back in our time, back in our ancestrals, because this is how we moved from level to level in our tribes. Once you achieve something in your tribe, the tribesmen would make a new bead level and would honor you with transitioning from one level to the next level, and you would have a bead necklace, you would have a bead ring, or they would put a bead on your face or in your body and stuff like that. So this isn't really a feminine thing, and I keep trying to get him to teach me the art of bead making.
I mean, to be honest, I had stopped, but I still got all this stuff, so I was like, I need to do something. So, and I sell these when I'm in my shows sometimes. So I'm looking to add to my merchandise, And I was just gonna buy some, but I couldn't find the right size. So
I want to do this.
I just want to say this because I know Rodney alluded to, like he said, us having emotion. I forget what I was looking at, but it was something in the last few days where somebody alluded to emotion, and especially for that in men in general. And they were saying that just because somebody is emotional doesn't necessarily constitute a sign of weakness, because in all fairness, of all the species on the planet, we are in particular asked to not show it under extreme circumstances. Now, maybe you gentlemen on this panel, and maybe the people who are watching and the people who will watch this later, can attest to this or not attest to this, but sometimes being in certain spaces is one of the most thankless jobs known to the planet. Mm-hmm. Being a man in particular happens to be one of them. You are asked, and I posed this to somebody recently, and like I said, you gentlemen may or may not be privy to this based off of the women in your lives, but you're asked to at times, hey, I need a couple extra dollars to go do this. Okay, baby, no problem, whatever. But how often is that same encouragement given in return? Hey, Rodney, you want to go out and hang out with the fellas? I'm gonna cash app you $100. You going out, hang out with the fellas. Hey, JP, it's $60. I know you wanted to get a haircut, whatever. Yet your ladies are always constantly, look, I'm short on my nail money. I'm short on this. I'm short, and you do it, and you don't even think about it. You don't even care because you're like, look, I want to make sure she's happy or the person in your life is happy, so you do what you do. But the return on that isn't as grand as we make it. In and including, we just passed Father's Day. Y'all were all there for it. We just passed Father's Day. Now, some of us said we had amazing Father's Days and this, and the third. We just did a show. Am I lying, JP? Because I was just on here along with Jeffrey down at the bottom. And we were, laughing and talking about that. But in all fairness to everybody, when you think about it, again, like I said, there is a off-kill balance to that we honestly don't talk about. We suffer in silence. We kind of maybe joke amongst ourselves when we're in the barbershop or when we're on, a platform like this, or actually off a platform like this. But the reality of it all is it does hit differently for those of us who really think about it. Like, wait a minute, hold up. I'm going through all this. I'm doing everything I can to be the provider, be the protector, all this stuff. And the least the least I'm expecting is a thank you. And you don't seem to be able to conjure that up at any time based off of, well, I had a ton of things on my mind. I don't get the luxury of saying I got a ton of things on my mind and whatever you're going through doesn't count. I got to take on what you got and keep in mind taking on the stuff that I got and try to handle it all without giving anybody any real angst or drama behind it. And I feel like at times that's a real state that we in that we really just don't talk about. I'm not saying it as a thing to rile anybody up. I'm just telling you what's real when we not on camera, when you in alone time by yourself, which is the real reason why you may need to go have a night out with the boys, whether it be go get some drinks, sit around a little bit just to get your mind off of things. Because if you stay at home, and I said this to somebody today, matter of fact, I was talking to my cousin, I said this today, if no other time in the world has taught us something, being in the pandemic taught us that, because a good portion of us were locked down with our significant others and locked down with our kids. And we found out a lot of things about ourselves that we didn't like. And including, you know what? I don't know these people like I thought I did. Some of these people I don't even like. Some of these people I don't even like. I'm not even sure if I like these people. I know they connect to me, and I'm gonna do the best that I can here. But I could trade a few of these people in if given the opportunity. But I'm gonna digress and yield the floor back to everybody else, man. I just crazy thoughts in my head.
I mean, what a great point, Amir, man. I mean, ultimately, guys, man, yes, it's a ridiculous job, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I like.
You like the pressure.
I like my people depending on me. I lean into that. I say all the time, sometimes you see women that are the head of household for whatever reason, and we a lot of us men bear that brunt as well, because we weren't there in that situation, those situations. But how about this? It's not the same. When a woman is head of household, she's going to look at that man like, yo, why are you not being who you're supposed to be? Right. And so it creates an atmosphere. I'm telling you, I can live my whole life and never get a quarter from my wife. I think my wife gave me my first $100 like recently. Like, I didn't have cash up, and she did. She was like, "Yo, this is the first time I've ever given you some money." I was like,
I concur, because I feel bad when I gotta ask to borrow money from or get money from my woman. I feel bad because I feel like I be doing them, doing my other stuff with providing. Somebody want to give to me, I kind of feel like I feel weird. I'm like, okay,
hold on, fellas, hold on.
Weird, ask for it. Oh yeah, I got you.
No, hold on, because this is kind of weird now. This could be a day when we have to record this, but Jeff has been quiet for quite a bit, and I don't know what the hell is boiling in Jeff right now.
Look, man, I'm working on me. I'm working on being a better listener and very zen. Okay, I thought you would appreciate me keeping
I do,
the
brother, yeah, I do, but I was damn sure sitting there going, "Why is Jeff quiet?"
Because before Rodney chimed in with being the man of the house and what all that entails, all that is supposed to entail, it didn't escape me what Amir was talking about, and I wanted to ask the panel, how many of you have dogs? You get dog? Okay.
Yeah.
Dog. Okay.
Yeah.
Can anybody here?
What about you, Jeff? What about you? You got.
I have Marley is my 80-pound bulldog, or 90-pound, 90-pound American bulldog, and Milton is my wife's little bullshit, worthless, stupid, one-eyed, blind. Had to take the eye out, cost $2,000 to take the eye out. We knew we were going to spend that money on the way in on an eye that wouldn't work. That worthless little motherfucker is circling the drain, hopefully to just gone over the bridge and not a la carte, the expensive way. To go over the bridge. And then I have a puppy named Maceo that I'm going to be picking up very soon. Another American bulldog. I submit to you that if you listen to it very closely and listen to your soul and your heart, your dog is your favorite child.
I have a cat, and my cat is here for purpose.
Okay. Compare your children to your dog. Have you ever been up to school for your dog? No. Your dog ever been suspended? No. Is your dog's mama after you for child support? I rest my case.
That bit.
Is that a bit? God damn it. I told you.
See?
If I pull my funny sword out in front of certain people, fucking fire. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Perry.
Yes, sir.
I love being funny around Rodney Perry.
And that was a Jack Benny moment when you gave him the Rokerfoot line. That was
Okay, well, and I swear to God, I just thought of this just now about like how while he was talking about having all of this pressure. Because my son said something to me when he was my youngest that really touched me. He said, "Daddy, big boys cry, but they don't whine, huh?"
You want to know something? My pops would have a fit if you whined around him. If you bitch and whined around my father would have a. You could cry. Get the goddamn shit out. I can hear my pops now. Get that shit out. Get it out your system. But if you whining around him, I don't. You could piss my father. You could take him to end quick. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have.
I was gonna say, I think that, again, when you look at, again, and that's why I said a lot of this is foundational, meaning it starts at home, depending on what your models are. And again, coming from, some of the places that I'm sure all of the gentlemen on this panel come from, just depending on your circumstances, I challenge even the young generation when I speak to them now, because a lot of them go, well, I don't got a dad. And I go, okay, but do you have somebody in your neighborhood who works? Somebody in your neighborhood who takes care of their family? Somebody in your neighborhood who you look up to, meaning when you see him, you aspire to get some of the energy and some of the things that person represents. Model that. See, one of the things that's hard in our community is we, so taught to, everything is right in front of you. No, there's things all around you that you can learn from, but we don't talk about that enough. We don't share that ideology. We don't even put that out there as a possible way of being able to learn, because everybody wants to go, well, why are you learning from that over there? Because that over there is actually teaching me something that hopefully is going to further me or make me greater, as opposed to sitting in this, which is tearing me down, making me emotionally unstable, putting me in a headspace and or in an energy that is not conducive to me and or to other things that are, connected to me. And that's what I mean. Like, I can't, you can't quantify that enough, because people don't really want to have those conversations. It's so much easier for us to sit around, and to the point of what you gentlemen just mentioned with whine, because whining allows people to pay attention to you versus being healed and being a light and or beacon for people to look to and go, oh, wow, I want to be like that. I want to move like that. I want to be connected to that. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
I learned from a pimp named Sweet Money at 8 years old.
Sweet Money.
His name's Sweet Money. Yeah. He told me, hey, young blood, how you doing? I'm gonna call you education, because every time I see you, man, you talk about something you doing in school. Yeah, that's good, man. Get that education. Let me tell you something about women. So you get a little older, and you see them women that you think is really freaks. They not really freaks. See, you might go to a club, you may see a girl shaking it off, and she dressing all provocative. Nah, she ain't no real freak. She just like that attention. She might already got a man at home. But that woman that's a freak, she over there sitting in the corner with a drink by herself, staring, just looking up into space. You go over there and talk to her, and you might pull her on the dance floor. She might start off a little slow, but did she get the grinding up off into you? Yeah, that's them freaks.
Yeah. Well, I think you had a long conversation with a guy who sound creepy.
Yeah. Harlem. That's Harlem.
Oh yeah. Okay. I had a guy named Raindrops in Harlem. Raindrops was a under our classifications, he was a bum. He lived in the streets, slept where he could. He drank. He always kept a flat bottle of wine in his pocket. He was a bum. But when you sat down and talked with him, when you sat down and actually listened to him, after his couple of minutes of bantering and whining and bitching, he had some great life jewels. You know what I'm saying? He would even teach you, like right there, how to, man, you got to get the screw and you open it up and you can take the wire, make sure you don't do this wire. And you don't know what he's talking about, but he's actually showing you things, you know, best way he can. So yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, there was some definite gems out there. So here we go, fellas.
I want a Starbucks that only caters to people with nicknames. Weren't they caramel macchiato for sweet money?
Yeah.
Is that as funny as I think it is, Rodney Perry?
Hey, listen, I got a whole bit that I have been working on about what they call it, body shaming. Back in our days, the epitome of body shaming was the nicknames they gave us.
Oh,
the nickname you got was
Heartless.
body shamed. You hear me?
Kevin,
was.
but he was like,
It was,
350.
but here's my thing. Okay, so just so I'm clear, because I think about this quite often. To your point, JP, because again, all of us are in and around the same age and maybe a little older in some cases, but generally around the same age. We had chicks, in theory, fat behinds, the itty bitty titty committee. She got a bunkie versus an ass. I don't know if it was body shaming. I think what we were trying to do was get a clear-cut understanding of what that specific body looked like and a description so that you weren't, catfish, because, we didn't have catfishing back then, but your boys didn't set you up. For instance, if your boy told you, she looked like this, that, the third, in your mind, because you knew what those words meant or those descriptions meant, you knew exactly what you was getting into versus getting to the spot and you like, she ain't nothing like you described, bro. Like I'm here mad.
Yeah, man. Man. She built like Emmitt Smith and got a neck like Mike Tyson.
Well, let's be honest about this. When we were, and I don't know about I'm 58. When I was 19, there was nobody to shame. There was the fat dude, the fat girl that went to my church. Okay,
I'm even going further than that, man. Like we had Black Mike, Bum Mike. We had
light skin Joe.
We had a kid that was burned, and we called him Skizzle.
Right.
Then when Skizzle learned how to fight, we called him Short Jab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had Dum Dum. We had Dum Dum. His nickname was Dum Dum, right?
And everybody knew who you was talking about.
Everybody knew exactly who you was talking about, but only people that can call him Dum Dum was the people that can beat him up. If you couldn't fight, you called him Junior like everybody else did. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, when you ready to test your shit out,
right?
Hey, Dum Dum.
Dum Dum, and then you know that was a fight. We had
you better have your shit ready.
We had Man. We had Gremlin, because Gremlin had big eyes and he just sat over there like that. Then once he started smoking weed, they started calling him Hot Now. We had some great, oh my God, we had some great nicknames, but they were body shamed. Bum Mike was a complete bum. He stunk and everything. But it was a difference between Bum Mike and Black Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
White cop. Yep.
We had Sambo, because Sambo, he every time we turned around, he was out there doing that stupid little white people dance that we saw on Solid Gold and all that. So they called him Sambo. We had Bubbles because he had big lips. Go talk to Bubbles. I'm telling you, man. There was no such thing as body shaming growing up. That was your characteristic. Then that's who it was. And I think it was emotional because people would cry. Psycho cried when stop calling me Psycho. And well, yeah.
That's not the bit you're working on,
is it? But see, let's here's the other thing too. I mean, we came up in a
nothing.
I mean, one thing we say it again.
No. What did you say?
I was saying, other thing you gotta take into consideration too. Okay, we came up in a time where it's one thing. You can joke with love with with your peoples and stuff like that. These days, you try to make a crack on somebody, and all of a sudden people get emotional about it. Like, oh my God, you just body shame me, or you talk trash about me. Why are you talking about me like that? What is this? And people will sit there and instead of just taking that internally and thinking about themselves. They run to social media, do a video, and get enough people to feel
Fuck
sorry
those
for them.
people, young man.
And then they sit there and that use them to validate their shame or whatever.
Young
Get out of
man.
here. Like, come on.
Young
Like, come
man,
on.
fuck those people.
Exactly.
Does that happen in the black community? I mean, I still think. I don't know. I haven't been in a long time, but I still think that we're inherently tougher than the words. And I don't know no black people going, oh, I just got body paint. Maybe.
Yo,
not no dudes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, dude.
These new ones, Rodney. Yeah, they complaining, bro. I've actually had to walk away from people in club settings that was sounding so emotionally like oh my god, I can't believe that. And I'm sitting there going, am I seriously sitting around people who can't understand whatever happened to what's that, Sticks and Stones and may break my break.
Yeah, like how many times you've been seeing the past couple of years a comedian may crack on somebody or whatever about how fat this person is, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, this person, they called him fat, and oh my god, it's shaming. And some group that got a disease that you ain't never heard of, the Alopecia Association or some nonsense. Oh my god, you're shaming people with alopecia.
Let them come.
Yo,
Let the spotted fat fucks come.
But I think to all of the points being made, I think what we're up against too is, like I said, we don't realize that in life there are going to be people who have moments that for them are whatever they think is their moment to shine. I'm assuming everybody on this panel, with the exception of myself, is a comedian. So you guys know and understand the logic behind what it is you do, meaning as comedians, as comics, you guys, there's a certain craft and a certain way that you craft things.
Sure.
When you're in normal settings, people are just going off of, to everybody's point, what they physically see. They don't specifically know you. They have no idea of your pedigree, who you may be, and all of those things. So they really are just trying to be in the moment or at the moment. I think that we have, because society has made it, like I said, us, so even more trigger related, because in and during the pandemic, I can't speak for everybody here, but I can speak for myself. I remember the fact that they were inundating us with information, like supposedly in real time. But I think it made us so emotional and so scared that anything and everything that we hear now, we immediately jump to the worst versus, wait a minute, let me take a minute and digest this or really think about this and see, what's being said or how it's being said, and then do my due diligence to find out if any of this actually is factual, has any merit or base, and then go from there. We are no longer taught to critically think. We're taught to react. And that's what most people are doing. They don't take a moment. Let me sit in that. Wait a minute. This dude said this, or he or she said this about me. Let me take a moment. Let me think about that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now let me do something about it. The way social media has been set up, the way a lot of the things that we're being fed is now a reactive situation. It's no longer just, wait a minute, let me think about this. I feel bad for us because, as I always say, and I say this just because I just remember it so much in my childhood and my youth, but I remember being in grade school and teachers or mentors would say this to everybody. Hey, for a minute, we want the class to put on your critical thinking caps. Remember that? I don't know if any of y'all remember that back in school, back in school days, but they used to say that. So that was your moment to, hold on, let me take this specific information that's being divulged to me. Let me think about it. And then let me, say whatever I'm going to say about it. But we don't do that anymore. Everything is, I need you to give me, what you feeling. Huh?
Right.
I don't know what I'm feeling yet. I haven't thought about it. Give me a minute. Let me sit on this and I'll come back to you once I've crafted something where I can honestly and logically tell you what I really am feeling or what I'm thinking or whatever. You know what I mean?
That reminds me of my daughter. She was about 4 or 5 years old at the time. She was really talkative, at that age. And we was in the elevator, And so we got on, and there was this huge lady on there. She must have been, she looked about 300 or something like that. And we stand there, we in the elevator, we going down, and my daughter, as loud as she wanted to be said, she goes, "Dad, that fat lady there smell funny." And
been around a couple.
yo, I couldn't even hold it in. Like, I couldn't even say that. I was just dying laughing. And the lady looking at me like, "That is rude. How'd you laugh at her for saying like that?" And I looked at her, I'm like, "Well, ma'am, you know what you look like when you walk out of the house, and you know
You
your ass or not."
Did you really say that? Did you really say that?
Yes, I did.
Jesus Christ! You just as bad as
She
the child.
stormed off or whatever, but
You
I
just
was
as bad as
laughing.
the child.
Well, I can't follow her
but-
because she's telling the truth. She's
Actually, what
she
you
see what
no, I'm gonna have to JP tag my hand. I'm gonna have to come off the top rope on you, pimp, because what you just did, wake up, Rodney. What you just did was taught your daughter the absolute reverse of tact.
Mm-hmm.
Tact is knowing exactly when not to engage the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
You gave
before-
your daughter a lesson in not needing tact, and it is a tool she is going to need if she's going to be successful later in life. So yes, I would have handled that much differently.
Yeah, and let me say this
Yeah,
right
I
now.
got you.
Let me
I
say
got
this
you.
right now. I am very offended that Jay Randoms did not say he wasn't a comedian when Amir said, "I'm assuming everybody else."
Well, I just let him. I I'm not a comedian.
I was
but, you know.
wondering. I was like, dude, you out here false flagging?
Nah,
Hey, fool, jokesters, fool.
No, I'm not a
flag is
comedian
hilarious.
by trade here. I'm actually in the medical field, but
Yeah, he's
Okay.
you know, I'm I understand.
Don't be out here misrepresenting up on them jokes, fool.
Shout out to everybody on
Yeah.
Instagram.
But
Thank you.
but you know, I understand the mind of the comedian because
Fuck
you know I
around
understand the
doing
mind of
laugh by on
creators
your
and
ass.
stuff.
He said, "Do it last by."
Laugh by.
So, do you think? So,
Serious, nigga.
so watch this. Do you think the majority of men these days, well, according to Amir, do you think that the majority of men these days navigate emotionally or logically?
You asking me or you asking the panel?
A mute. What's the name? Listen, we put everybody here. Go to the link right here. But when you come in the green room, I gotta see you and I gotta know that you're a real person because we already got somebody in here who put in the personal chat, "I am Adolf Hitler," and then we had somebody putting porno up. So when you come to the green room, I'm going to see you.
What? Is that the whole deal there? I had no idea.
Yeah, we got.
JP, I think that, you know, to your question, I think we actually operate off of both a lot of times, but I think we have shut down the emotional element of us, and we're using logic a lot more than we use emotion because, again, like I said, we have been taught to not definitively show our emotional side.
Mhm.
In the incident that I spoke of earlier, like I said, on the boat ride that I was on, one of the young ladies, she's very familiar with me, and she could tell I was, you know, visibly upset. And she was like, "Amir, I never see you upset. You one of those people who's always, you know, in a great mood." But like, I was just so upset because of the way these two gentlemen in particular, like I said, one were acting, but then two, the not taking accountability for your actions. It's okay to, you know, have a moment where, you know, you may or may not do something in a way that's conducive to a situation. But if somebody brings it to your attention, hopefully you're smart enough to go, "Oh, snap, let me hold myself a little more accountable
There you go.
for what I'm doing and how I'm handling this particular situation."
Right.
And when that didn't happen, it triggered me because I'm saying to myself, as you know, we've heard on multiple occasions, you know, on different situations, black men aren't protecting black women and so forth and so on, which isn't true. We are. The reality of it all is what happens though is we have small groups of people who, for whatever reason, and like I said, more than likely, their development and or lack thereof is what we're seeing when you see people acting out in specific ways. And again, like I said, I just hope and challenge us all to look at yourself first before you start, pointing fingers at everything and all the odd stuff that you see in the world, because chances are what you're receiving is a reflection of who you are.
Ooh.
And I've come to see that in my, short time on the planet of 54 years. And I'm starting to see it much more so, because even to get on a discussion like this today with you gentlemen tells me that some of the things that I talk about, some of the things that I say, I'm looking at a reflection of myself with gentlemen who either have some of the same ideologies or different ideologies that sort of are in alignment. And
So-
Well,
Let me say this. Let me interject, and then you tell me how you feel, Greg, Jeff. They say people who are logic based and deal from a logical standpoint have less empathy and can be selfish. So, what do you think about that?
well, yeah. That just points to the fact that intelligent people are smart enough to know when to be selfish.
Mm.
There's a time to be selfish.
Okay, explain.
You can suffer from
wanna-
not being selfish enough.
I think we as people aren't. I think we as Black people aren't selfish enough.
Oh, we aren't selfish at all. There are things about being a Jew, an Armenian, a Korean, a Mexican, that if you aren't those things, you don't know shit about. There is nothing about being Black that other people don't know about, because we put our shortcomings to dance music, and we are so happy when if a comedian gets up, a white comedian gets up and says the latest slang. Oh my God, that's the funniest thing we've seen. Oh, isn't it wonderful? He accepts us and wants to take the fruit of our culture. It's fantastic.
Come on, Jeff. Jeff,
Oh my gosh.
Jeff, can I be very honest?
Or even worse, colonize it and act like he made it up.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
there's that.
Hey, listen, here go a little personal pet peeve. I don't say this out loud, and people who don't know me know. I have a real problem with white comics in our Black rooms. I have a really big problem with, I don't care how great, how funny you think this white boy is. I don't care of what stature he is. I have a real problem with white people, white comics in Black situations, because I believe that they're there for our je ne sais quoi. They're there for our essence. They're there to learn what makes us tick, what keeps us going, what makes us creative, what blah blah blah. And when I see it on stage, I don't even want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that, because, like you said, we're not selfish enough, and there's nothing about us that we don't put out there, and we think that that's them accepting us. I can't stand it.
I'm gonna just push back on that just a little, because I don't think that it's a matter of us looking at it as a form of acceptance. I think one of the real basis of our struggle and our strife is this: we're living in a space, in particular this country. Yes, we built it. We've created the infrastructure. We've created every format that this actual country thrives on. Everything. Food, clothing, entertainment, you name it, it's us. The problem is we don't own it. We don't have any way of owning it. And when we do try, because everybody I know goes, well, we don't. Go look up historically, anytime our community in particular has decided we are going to come together and have cleaners, hospitals, comedy show, you name it, they burned it to the ground.
Come on now.
They burned it to the ground.
Guys.
No, Jeff, just hear me. Just hear me. I'm not here to tear anybody down. I'm not trying to turn this into a
that they sunk.
But what I'm saying is, they are always in control of things specifically because us, and I don't think that we're giving it away, We just are the greatest at surviving. Nobody thrives like we do through adversity. You look at historically anything that they've given to us or anything that we brought to the table that was supposed to be the worst of the worst. And I always liken it to, and I'll just take food for a second. I'm like, some of y'all know, I grew up Muslim per se. I'm not a Muslim, but I grew up in the faith, technically speaking. So I've never had chitlins. I've never had pork to speak of and so forth and so on. But I do know this. When they created chitlins and all that stuff, again, it was the worst of the worst. We turned it into a delicacy. We made it something special or grand or great, as we've done time and time again with anything that they've supposedly thrown away or decided wasn't great. But the point to that is we then do not have structures and things in place where we can honestly benefit from it and thrive. Because the minute that we try to do those things, to a point that even JP just made, they send in somebody to infiltrate.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey, you don't know this. Rodney may know this. JP may know this. Jay, I know you don't know this, but those Rodney and JP, like I said, may know this. I'm telling y'all this because I don't have nothing to hide. My father protected what he says was his brother and his friend, which was the late Malcolm X. You can look it up. I don't like I said, I don't got to be on here to front for anybody. I'm telling you this because I was there. My mother and father were a part of the movement, and they explained to me, when everybody thinks that I'm so profound, this, that, the third, I told you I came from a different headspace and different place. I say this jokingly, but it's the truth. On Sundays, if some of y'all remember this, the Bowery Boys used to come on every Sunday, depending on where you lived in this country. Used to come on every Sunday. I could watch the Bowery Boys, but I had to watch Positively Black and had to watch Like It Is.
Come on now.
So I had the best of both worlds. You understand what I'm saying? Abbott and Costello, I could watch it, but I had to make sure I was watching Tony Brown's Journal. The balance. We don't have balance anymore. We have one real heavy side and then a few things here and there to supposedly offset all of the craziness. Now, again, I'm not sharing this because I'm trying to make this a heavy show. What I'm trying to say is, this is why I say critical thinking is no longer where we're at. We need that. We need to understand we got to get back to some balance. We don't have balance anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you gonna say, Jeff?
Okay.
Wait, block it on the internet and watch. Oh yeah. They get listen. If this show got too heavy and they thought that there was influence on this show, I would have problems every week. I would have problems every week. Let there be 100 motherfuckers in here watching this show. When he dropped that jewel, he just dropped a second ago, and I would have problems.
Okay. Here's my issue with every time they. There are so many instances of what they have done to us, but we never ever look at what we have left and focus on what we have left and draw a metaphysical line in the sand. There is only one way out of this. We cannot vote our way out of this. Republican and Democrat, liberal and conservative, those are terms white people use to describe each other. They're not talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
They are the left and right wings of the same filthy vulture that has picked your bones for decades.
Ooh, come on now.
You are not going to vote your way. Your right to vote is voted on.
Mm.
Whenever you see a black face in politics, that means white supremacy is further in full effect. Because niggas love symbols. Where are the Pearls and Chuck's crew? Can't find it.
What's Pearls and Chuck's crew?
Oh, bro. Oh, my God.
Kamala
Oh,
Harris.
sweet God. The black women that got behind this woman who out of her mouth said, I am not going to do anything for black people specifically. No, that's a quote. That woman that they got behind. The woman that Joe Brown has said such horrible shit about that you know is true, because you cannot libel or slander the vice president of the United States without 2 school buses full of lawyers pouncing on your ass. So everything he's had to say has
Joe
to
Brown,
have some matter of
Joe Brown
fact.
just passed?
Judge Joe?
No, Judge Joe.
Oh, I'm thinking Jim Brown. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Jim
No,
Brown.
Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown. You need to listen to, I dare you.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Judge Joe Brown, Kamala Harris. He says the most vile shit about her personally, professionally, historically, biologically. Whoa. If he was lying about any of this, he would be sued. But you don't hear anything about this. Anyway, there's no way out of this but to love ourselves. Love ourselves enough to go, Donald Sterling, we heard what you said. Please don't sell the team. Please don't. Keep it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm Jeff Brown, pastor of the West Angeles Church of God in Christ here. My cathedral seats 25,000 people. If you consider yourself a member of my church, you will have yourself in my seats for every night of every televised game. I want you there, and I want the seats full. And we're going to put the game up on the screens, and we're going to watch it together, and we're going to have popcorn together. We're going to clean up afterwards. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And one side of the church is going to be in charge of transportation. The other side is going to be in charge of appliances. The other side is going to be in charge of big box businesses. The other side is going to be in charge of travel. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to see to it that everybody here has letters that read the following: Dear airline, dear soap, dear car dealership, dear clothing, dear hot sauce. From now to the next 6 generations, I will teach my family not to use your product. The next 6 generations or 100 years, whatever goes last. And I don't want your money. I don't want your apologies. No exceptions. I will not be flying your airline using your soap. Step 2, every black player in the NBA say, I will not be playing for or against any team. I will not play on this team, and I will not play against this team if I am black. All of us. None of us. You would watch a people rise up and choke 2 businesses to death simultaneously. But we don't love each other enough.
Come on now.
We don't love each other enough to intervene and stop a man from being killed right in front of us. We don't love each other enough to say that Trayvon was killed in my neighborhood, and I'm the gangster that runs shit around here. So here is $100,000 in a bag for his head on a stick.
Come on now.
We don't love each other enough yet, because we haven't had to. But I tell you when we will, when this dollar collapses and Diddy is being chased by the same white militia man that a homeless man is, we will have no choice.
Can I ask you this question?
No divider.
Can I ask you this question, man? And I got it. Damn, we're coming up on 2 hours, but God damn it. Ice Cube said the coldest shit this week.
It's another brother we failed. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. That way they did him, man.
He said he said the coldest shit this weekend. What up, Jonathan Gates? By all means, Jonathan Gates, come on over here. Let me give you these. We after the two hour point, but come on, join this conversation. It's heavy. So Ice Cube said some of the most heavy, and it had me thinking. Now, correct me when I'm wrong. They still want
wrong. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yo, listen. Yo, they still want his head for fuck the police. They still,
really?
Come on, man. Fuck the police changed the outlook of how society looks at itself. NWA changed.
Yeah, Ice Cube threw the first brick through the glass.
What's that guy's name? What's that guy's name who shot the first bullet in the Civil War?
They killed Christmas Addicts.
John-
The guy who first got killed. Yeah.
You mean the guy that first got killed? Yeah, Christmas Addicts.
Right, exactly. Ice Cube is that guy for a lot of different a lot of different levels. So when he got on screen this week and said he's being blacklisted and they're trying to squeeze him, and I love what he said. He said, "You know who they are, the gatekeepers, the one that's supposed to be the gatekeepers."
What was this on?
Oh, you didn't hear about this, brother?
He's been going on the podcast tour saying this all week.
Oh, he said it's going to be a hot summer. He said, I'm going to every podcast and I'm going to talk on every podcast. He said, watch out this summer. Hey, yo, let me tell you something, man. He's a smart man.
I'm going to get in touch with him. Shit.
Yeah.
And I got some beats in here.
To your point, JP, you know, that is, again, coming on the wake up because, you know, somebody I know who is connected to basketball, we had a great conversation about this. With his big three, it has to do with, you know, that whole movement that he had going on with the big three. It challenges the status quo for the bigger franchises. We'll just put it that way. I can't say certain things because I'm still connected to some of these franchises. So I can't go but so crazy. But I'm saying that to say this. That's what I mean about this place in particular. When you start challenging the bigger modules, because that's what they are, they're just modules, and for whatever reason you start messing with their resources, to Jeffrey's point, that's when there's a problem for you.
Hey, Jeff,
They don't forget.
Okay.
They don't give a damn.
Jeff, did you put two together about who this guy is right here? Did you put two and two together yet?
No, I don't do that kind of math. What?
Hey, can I tell him?
I don't
Yes, you can tell.
He's Malik Sealy's brother.
Where? Where? He there in the room with you?
Yeah, no, Amir right here, Amir Sealy.
Amir. Oh shit!
Great to
You
meet
know
you.
what is
Ken.
so bananas, man? I looked your name up earlier, and then I saw Malik's story, and I remember Malik's story, and my dumb ass still didn't put them together. That's how good the shit is I smoke. I still, till right now. Bless his brother.
Did you know that, Jay? Did you know that, Juan? I told you about that, right, Juan?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to put because he spoke about Malcolm X and he said the NBA. I was like, let me let you know who he is. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let me speak from this place. This not Amir saying it. This me saying it. Jeff Brown. That nigga you can't cancel because I got 1,200 DVDs, a landline, and I drive a stick shit.
What the fuck is wrong with this?
How you gonna cancel a nigga like that? I got 1,200 DVDs with no surprise gay shit on them.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Go ahead.
Now, anyway, it is my belief that neither the NBA nor the NFL should even exist. If the NBA was 85% Armenian, do you think it would be owned by 85% Koreans?
Whoa, say that again.
If the NBA, the reason you watch it, the cool in it, the talent in it, the raw grace.
Yeah, that's like Amir said, that what we do, how we do
The power of the no look.
The
shit you can't write in X's and O's. That shit that make you go, oh shit, did I just see what I thought I saw? That shit that is naturally us. You can see it in an 18-month-old. That shit. If the Armenians had that shit in a bottle and 85% of a business made up around it that ran the Earth's economy,
That's what I'm talking about.
If it was 85% Armenian, do you think it would be owned by 85% Koreans?
No.
No. How about if it was 85% Korean, do you think it would be owned by 85% Chinese?
So in other words, what you're saying is 85% of the NBA and NFL is ran by us, but yet we own no percentage of this.
We don't. No, that's not.
No,
what I'm
we
saying.
participate. We participate, but we don't own
This
it.
is what I'm saying. I am saying that the fan is as guilty as the player. That as a people, we should stand up and turn our backs on these industries that harvest our neighborhoods. How is it that an NFL team and an NBA team in a major city are not giving 5% of the gross back to the neighborhood in the city? Here's how. Because the niggas that play are niggas that play.
Jeff,
That's how.
And the only thing I'll add to this, which is when I say that what you said was so apropos, go look up where predominantly all of the stadiums are. They are not in their communities. None of the stadiums are in their communities. The stadiums are in all of our communities. If you live in the Bronx, JP, you in the Bronx. Where's Yankee Stadium, bro?
They're not finna inconvenience their real estate for a place to gather that many commoners.
Thank you. And the craziness is, especially here in New York, I can't speak for other cities. I know here in New York because I live here in New York. The Mets, which play out in Queens, they're the only ones who may technically kind of fudge the lines because they out by the big park out there.
No. Listen. Even that is considered the ghetto of those
of Queens, no question. So I say that to say the train systems always seem to run perfectly when the seasons are in play. I don't care what's going on. Your weekend could be inconvenienced like a mug if it ain't no games going on. But if the minute them games is on, hey, we got the suburbs coming to the inner city. We need to make sure they have a quick in and out so that there will not be any transactions that go extremely wrong.
Yeah.
That goes to show you, to Jeff's point, the power of that whole situation.
You know what I found out a couple of months back? Amazon. The structure that makes Amazon work. Do you know where he got that structure from?
Ants.
The books of slave owners on how they kept those big plantations, them acres and acres, how they record kept and how they knew what slave did what work. Those record keepings are the same basis that Amazon used, to the point where they're called bales, and all the slang terminology that they use for slavery, they use it in Amazon. Bro, when I found this out, I said, God damn, if we are the backbone of this goddamn country, so we deserve every minute. I was asking this, I was on stage yesterday and I asked, should we be participating in 4th of July now that we have Juneteenth? And this black guy said to me, we deserve both. And I said, it was a moment that I said, we do.
I don't understand. I don't understand deserve. I don't understand.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
can
get
that.
this deserve. What? Okay, first off, let me get this straight. Juneteenth is when Whitey stopped finally lying about when slavery was over. Am I right? Am I missing something there?
You're correct.
That is right, correct?
Yeah.
So this is just yet another holiday that we celebrate when Whitey stops tripping, because that's generally what we celebrate progress by. We don't have a Nat Turner Day. We have a Jackie Robinson Day because Whitey stopped tripping and let niggas play. If we'd have kept the Negro Leagues, regardless to what it was, if you wanted to see Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr., Reggie Jackson, Henry Aaron,
Darryl
Strawberry, or any black player, you know where you would have had to see him? You had to come to us to see him. Because to be honest, regardless of what the sport is, basketball, football, nobody wants to see 22 mediocre white boys do shit.
Come on, never have. And thank you for the cash app.
Here's the 3 scariest words for black people. We are enough.
Why can't we understand that?
Because
okay, so here we go. I'm gonna throw this in the mix. How do you feel about that picture? Because I posted it on my page. And I had to my boys had to call me about Pharrell dressed up as a pharaoh. You heard Pharrell's new job? He's the head of Louis Vuitton. He's the head of Louis Vuitton's designer, something. He has one of the major seats in Louis Vuitton. In his first line of clothing, he brought out an Egyptian garb that looked like Egypt.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna just jump in quick and I'm gonna jump out. First off, I am very just to a point that Jeffrey just made. I'm so sick and tired of us feeling as though there's some sort of arrival, some sort of we're included ideology. I saw the picture that you posted. I thought the picture was powerful in one sense, but in the other sense, I was distraught by it because I feel like this. As I said earlier, please tell me in what time ever fashion wasn't moved by us.
Come on now.
The only time fashion wasn't moved by us was when we technically were left to wear the rags because we didn't have the means to dress up. But I dare any of you on this panel to go look at old footage of us when we were dressed. We always outdressed them, always. Our style, our swag, our je ne sais quoi, whatever terminology and wording you want to use, has always been a step above and beyond, and will continue to be. One of the issues that I've always had with the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, and all of these other quote-unquote brands that everybody goes, they're high fashion and high end. They were none of that until we decided that we wanted to be a part of it. And a lot of that...
all stolen from Egyptian caves, Egyptian drawings. You can see...
Thank you.
You can see, and I hate to cut you off, brother, but you can see Versace's patterns all over Egyptian art.
Thank you.
Straight up stole it.
So we got that part, and then you fast forward, for those of you again who remember, a gentleman in particular, his name is Dapper Dan out of Harlem.
Yeah.
He turned the game totally upside down when in the height of the 80s and 90s, he decided to take those same said patterns and put them on people that look like us, who at the time were the face of music, were the face of entertainment, so forth and so on. And that's when Gucci and Louis Vuitton and whatever other brands all of a sudden became, even to today, where Balenciaga and some of these other names that I don't even know or pronounce, because I'm looking at people like, so you got on $3,000 sneakers, but you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Okay, I get it. It is what it is. We just don't understand, to a big point that you made, our power and what we're capable of when really coming together to go, enough's enough. The sad thing is, historically speaking, though, just like I mentioned earlier about the things that have been torn down, we do have record of how powerful we can be. The boycott of the buses is a clear-cut indication of what can happen when people get together and go, enough is enough, and we just don't want to, play that anymore. You gentlemen in particular, or at least you, JP, and you, Jeffrey, even though y'all may or may not even be in this part of the entertainment industry, but it's on record. This isn't something I'm making up. This is on record by them. The movie industry was saved by us. That's on record. That ain't something I'm making up. That's on record. That's on them saying it. Not even just us. That's on them saying it. And the blaxploitation movies, quote unquote, that were the basis of it and that whatever, we saw, we knew, we understand, because now as older gentlemen, you look back, maybe some of the imagery, and I always say this because we always say stuff like, some of the imagery isn't good. You make the best out of what it is you have at the time. Numbers as we know it. Go back again historically and look at this. Nobody was making money until African Americans got involved in numbers, which is why some of the early gangsters, the Dutch Schultzes and so forth and so on, had such a vested interest in Harlem, because they was like, wait, these people will pool together their pennies and nickels and whatever. I don't understand numbers, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. I'm just telling you, again, historically speaking, these are facts and things about our community that have resonated and continue to resonate. And then when you take these things into consideration, and I mean this wholeheartedly, because as you move throughout our beautiful country and you have the opportunity to experience different things in life, So understand this. In most of our African American communities, we very rarely to almost never have stores of people of color in our own communities. Yet the Asian community, the Hispanic community, the Italian community, and all these other communities have beautiful restaurants and things that are in our community to take the money out of said community. And y'all don't think that this is by design or think that this is a specific engineered thing?
When I heard that the suburbs were built, they built bridges in over the suburbs blocks just low enough so that the bus can't get through it. So that this way the inner city, you didn't hear about this? So like say, did you hear about these tales that they're finding out now that suburbs where all white people live, the bridges and stuff where the bus comes through were made low enough so that the bus can't get through. So that this way, inner city people can't make their way to the suburbs.
Well, that only makes sense. The suburbs were made so that middle-class white men could have somewhere to impregnate and raise their babies away from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they were made for.
I mean, taking it back to the red lining, you know, the red lining, the red lining of a district where they would literally take the map of the city, draw a red line that separated the quote unquote white community from the black community. And the way they knew they couldn't just throw people out of the black community like that. So what they do, they stopped sending in, fire services. They stopped sending in police officers. They stopped sending in, typical services that you would get. Trash wouldn't get picked up. The cops wouldn't go past certain blocks if an accident or something like that happened. And they cut funding for schools in those same areas.
Brother. Now take all of those. And here's what happens if you do it to the Vietnamese. Here's what happens if you do it to the Mexicans. They cut trash in our neighborhoods. Okay. Everybody with a pickup truck. Everybody that can afford to rent a truck. We're going to take our shit to the dump on our own. And it's going to be some niggas riding with some guns to make sure don't no shit go down. If you white boys want it, you know where you can get it.
Oh my God, bro.
Every one of those services you mentioned requires outside help that black people think they need. And I submit to everyone that this table we want to see that is made up of 30 million kneeling black people. If we stand, there is no table. We just don't love each other enough. So all this is arranging deck chairs on the Titanic until this shit collapses and the people who deal with one another and collect and think high-minded and think collectively, those people are going to survive. The rest are going to perish, and they're not just going to be black. All the useless eaters, just by default, they going niggas first.
Hey, fellas, I got to close this show down, man. We've been over 2 hours. Yo, this was a powerful goddamn show. Yo, you know what I love? I love when I sometimes be thinking, and tell me when I'm wrong, I sometimes be thinking we as black people are beginning to look crazy trying to explain to them that we know what the fuck is going on. Like, cut this bullshit. Like, how long did you think this was going to last? Did you think we was never going to come up with the solution or never see the problem? So they starting to make us look crazy with how we keep pointing it out. Look at this. This is what we're talking about. You're always talking about this. Look at this. This is what we're saying. What are you saying? Blah, blah, blah. Look at that. That's what I've been saying. You're just over. And right now, you guys, first of all, not only you guys, but the world is starting to unveil that we have not been bugging out. It can't be held down no more. The cream is rising to the top. And the gems, and I said this today, I said this to Chocolate Shot today. I said, how long did you think burying gems in the sand was not going to glean through so people can see the true value of people? You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, fellas, we over 2 hours, man. I love our conversations. It seems like it seems like we've been rocking with a core of us. Vino, I'm sorry. I'm glad that you are on the road, but I'm sorry you couldn't join us. Big shout out to my man, the visitor today, my man, Mr. Rodney Perry. In the building, ladies and gentlemen, we got my man, Jay. We got the incomparable, my man, Mr. Amir Sealy, and we got the very, very funny, very, very insightful Jeff Brown. Fellas, you got anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
I'd just like to say to everybody, continue to have a wonderful and safe holiday season. I don't call it these things. I call it holiday seasons if that's what you're into. Secondly, as this panel has, tried to share, let's do a better job of checking on each other. Let's do a better job of building with each other. And more importantly, let's just do a better job of taking self-inventory and working on being the best version of yourself you can be. That's imperative.
Love it, bro.
That's
what do you got to say, Jay? I'm gonna let Jeff go last. Ron, what you got to say, brother? Hey, when is Mad Men coming back? Bro, let me tell you, I love the setup. I love how y'all attack problems. I love how y'all even find the issues to talk about, bro. Where do y'all find these issues? Yo, and you find clips and hey, yo, if y'all don't know,
what is Mad Men?
Man? That's a Madman Radio. You look us up at 247films.tv. It's a whole started by my homegirl Shy Boogie. Shout out to Shy Boogie. And so basically, she hosts the Hip Hop Film Festival every year in August. This year is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, of course. So we're celebrating that. We'd have a lot of content creators as far as that do movies, shorts, music videos, all of these different creatives. She's created a space basically for any type of independent actors or independent directors to create movies, and we celebrate them. We celebrate whatever it is that whatever product they bring to us. We got a panel of folks that review them and things. We judge who's best documentary, best film, that sort of thing. And we have you got a whole thing going on with it. And we've been going strong. We've been going strong for like 6-7 years now.
Did I tell you how I first met Shy Boogie?
Yeah, we was up at
No. The first time I met Shy Boogie, she was 9 years old. She was rocking on the couch. I went to school with her sister. So when her sister brought me to the house, Shy Boogie was sitting on the couch like this, and she said, "That's my little sister, Charlotte." And I'm sitting there going, "Why is she rocking on the couch like this?" She said, "That's what she does. She'll sit there for hours," and she just was doing this for hours, and that's all. So as we grew older, and to see what she is, she's a great and powerful Black woman, and this is a woman who loves her community. She loves her people, and she does for her people. God damn it, she needs to be celebrated in a lot of ways. But when I see her now, I fall out laughing because I said my first view of her was rocking on the couch watching TV. So to see her move today, I laugh. I go, "Oh my God, incredible!" But good. So Madman Radio is a radio station with over 5 million views.
Podcast. Madman Radio. Yep, we've been on. We on a little bit of hiatus right now, but we got man, we've been rocking for the past like 11 years or so. I jumped on board probably about almost 10 years ago when I jumped on board, but by that point in time, they've already been rocking. And so I started off as a writer with them for their website, and then I moved from that to being on the show. And then we were like in the past year during the after the this past election, we was running hard. We hit the ground running, and we just look up. We pick topics that's we know that there's topics out there, there's big things that's going on, but there's also other little things, other little topics that other people don't talk about, things that have happened. Like, give an example. Back when a lot of the riots was happening over in what was that, Michigan? Michigan? I think had another riot. There was cops that was going around shooting at like they were shooting rubber bullets at regular people in Black neighborhoods, just shooting at them for no reason, just to get something started to make things pop off in those areas. So they have a reason to arrest them. This was back during this was back in Minnesota, back when the Black Lives Matter riots was going on.
Okay, yeah.
And so when this happened, when the cops was purposely doing this, and in one instance they were shooting rubber bullets at a because first they had hit a group of Black folks that had owned a gas station. They was doing an interview with Vice, the news media thing, Vice. They shot at them, and then they shot at another Black guy who happened to be an Army veteran who was concealed carrying, and he shot back at the officers. And then they got shot with real guns. Yeah, then they run. Oh yeah, police. And they tried to charge him with attempted murder and all that stuff. He got acquitted, and then he turned around and sued the police department for firing on him for no reason with rubber bullets and violating his rights. We talk about stuff like that.
Yo, bro, it's a really exciting show, and the way they attack their topics, like each one of them have their own characteristics, and Shy Boogie sort of like delegates how the topic goes around, and they all attack it, and they show the clips, and bro, it's an incredible show. But
okay, where
you
can we
can catch
see
us
it?
on? You can catch us on. You can catch us on. You can catch us on Facebook. We're on. You can type up in "Why You Mad Son," and you can look us up that way. Madman Radio, Harlem Film House. And you can also check out our website, 247films.tv. You can sign up for a subscription, $5 a month. You know what I'm saying? It's cheaper than Netflix. Okay, cheaper than OnlyFans. If you know, and you ain't got to pay for no paywall. You get more content. You ain't got to be looking at nobody's feet or nothing like that or whatever. And you feel like you got gypped. No, you get movies, you get music, you get shows, other podcasts, all kinds. It's a whole.
it breaks.
I'm not buying it on Facebook.
Hey, and let me tell you what
No,
else.
you're not buying it on Facebook. No.
Hey, listen, bro. And let me tell you what else she did. Let me tell you what else Shy Boogie did.
Oh yes.
Listen
The
to
metaverse.
this. Shy Boogie went into the metaverse. This woman is just incredible. She hired one of the biggest creators to create things for her. She was the first person to come out with the Meta, META Mall, MALL. And she brought in all of these people who were selling things on the internet and brought them into a mall on the fucking metaverse and had thousands of people at her mall, and she was making money hand over fist. She sells NFTs. She has so many different platforms out here in the metaverse. Bro, she's a genius. She's a genius. She's a genius. She's a genius. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely check him out. Last but not least, my man Big Jeff, Uncle Jeff in the building. What you got going on, brother?
Hey
I
man,
love when you come on the show. I love when you come on the show.
Check me out in the afternoons, I believe, on the DL Hughley radio show, syndicated nationally. I am, you just missed it, this Sunday morning. I'm the pastor of the First Church of Holy Shit. Somebody fucked up and told me God was everywhere, so I pray from here. Saves me 10%. I never miss a game. And I invite you to save 10% on your soul insurance by switching to Don't Go, and come here with me every Sunday and look for my special.
I was at Comedy in Harlem, and Big Red, Big Red that usually join us, our Puerto Rican guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Hey, yo, JP, I went to Jeff's show last week afterwards. My God, yo, that man is talented." I said, "Man, get the fuck out of the way. Hand me the hot sauce. I'm eating some." No, they was definitely talking about you.
He is so accurate.
Yo, no, they were definitely talking about you in front of Comedy in Harlem this week. They was talking about how great of a show you had. So big up to my man Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy JP Justice. Thank y'all. You know how we do, and I got so many different things on right now. First off, let me cut off the iTunes and Google Play. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you are listening, you have got to go over to Black Kings Table Talk and follow me, ladies and gentlemen. Numbers make a difference. And you being a silent friend to me is like having a prostitute with no vagina. Why? Listen. So definitely come on over and friend.
Shit, paint your house.
Thank y'all. I'm about to sign off with you guys.
Do your breaks.
None with a fat ass, man.
Yeah, listen. And now you're coming over to Instagram. I love you guys. I had a lot of you numbers come through on Instagram. Thank y'all so much.
Manual labor.
There's a lot of things you can call a prostitute for. She can cook soup and all that. I want to thank you guys for coming through, ladies and gentlemen. Do me a favor. Come on over to Black Kings Table Talk and make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend. Each and every Sunday, 5 p.m., your boy JP Justice facilitates one of the hottest shows, and we definitely got a cast over here that I'm beginning to really love. Amir brings
babysitter. That's cheaper than a babysitter.
Wait, you would let a prostitute?
I don't know about no crackhead babysitter. I don't know about no prostitute babysitter.
See, I don't know what quality of whore you're dealing with.
Yeah. Mine be like bullet wounds and stitch marks. Yeah.
Yo, he said, "What quality of whore you dealing with?" Hey, Instagram, thank y'all for tuning in. Hold on. And last but not least, hey, that was fucking hilarious. And last but not least, what was you gonna say?
Oh, I was saying, yeah, she the type, yeah, she the Subway, she a Subway sandwich eating chick, you know, dressed like a tomboy, you know.
Last but not least, let me shout out my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my YouTube, my Twitter, my Twitch. Listen, all you guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. We've been doing this for 3 years, and the new
Comics
format.
go last, Jay.
Say it again.
Comics go last. Don't go after me or Jay again. JP.
What are you talking about?
Jay. Okay.
Oh,
If
you
we
talking about
say
Jay.
something funny, if JP says something funny, I will bet my pinky finger. I will bet my ex-wife's head that you're not going to say anything funnier
Hey, yo, so are you
than
telling
what JP
him?
said.
Are you telling him don't take the TI route?
I'm telling him on the fast break, motherfucker, pass. Okay, you do not touch the ball last. Okay,
Ladies
if
and
I come
gentlemen,
and bam, don't try to come and bam at if JP hits a 30-footer, just let it bounce on the bucket. Take the ball out, nigga. Take the ball out.
hey, look at
I'm
Amir.
good.
That's right up
I'm
Amir's.
good.
That's right up Amir's alley. Thank y'all
Okay,
so
I
much.
don't even play Amir. I just
Thank y'all so much. Your boy JP Justin. See you next Sunday, man. Hey, fellas, thank y'all, man.
All right.